And I agree with you when it comes to the title of Mary as Mother of God. This is really an important one because at the heart of it, it is a Christological one, but it's also telling you about the amazing role of Holy Mary. And I think if we look at the Western saints, the Eastern saints, they would agree. Mary is a very important figure for us in salvation history. And she, let me ask you this, Father, in the Eastern liturgies, does Mary remain a important focal kind of figure?
Oh, yes. Multiple times during the liturgy, we're remembering her, first of all, the saints, but every sort of little canon at ends of what's called a Theodokion, a hymn to the Mother of God, or a reference to the Mother of God. So she's constantly there. And the piety of the Mother of God, especially if you go to monasteries, is extremely high. So Mount Athos, it's her garden that she's venerated extremely highly. The icons are venerated very highly. They're constantly doing supplicatory prayers to her. So she's very big in the sort of the piety of the monastics in Orthodoxy and throughout all the liturgical things, which I think comes down to what I'll move on a little, is the saying of Christ at the cross and to John the Apostle, "Behold, this is thy mother, and mother, this is thy son." What does the meaning of this? Well, it means that in the disciples becoming adopted sons of God, the Mother of God becomes our own mother. She becomes our mother. So it's natural to treat her as our own mother of the body, really, the mother of the flesh. So she is even more truly in our own mothers, our mother. And so once this sort of understanding comes in, you see how important she becomes to all of us in our salvation, in a sense, as working for us as our mother. And in her intercessions, etc., her care and things. So I think that, Protestants sort of just see her as some girl that just happened to be a avenue for Christ to come incarnate, and it sort of gets dropped off of history. Whereas the Orthodox, and I'm sure the wider Catholic sense, is she is our mother and plays a very important continuing role in assisting and helping us through to salvation.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think if we look at Scripture, I think it's very clear. You brought up that very important point of at the foot of the cross, Mary handed over to Saint John, literally called his mother, and then I don't know what your thoughts are. In fact, I'd love to ask you your thoughts. When I personally look at Revelation chapter 12, I believe you've got Mary as, I believe it's a dual image that we find there. I think it's fine to interpret that as being the church, but I think Mary is a fine interpretation as well. You have a number of early fathers that thought that was okay. Indeed, even very early fathers that viewed it as being the church. In their commentaries indicated that they were aware of fathers predating them that believed it to have been Mary, even if they would have disagreed with that. And the interesting thing is in Revelation chapter 12, that woman is she's the mother of the followers of Christ, those that keep the commandments of the faith, which would open up the avenue to exactly what you're saying, Father, that Mary is the mother of Christians. We can ask for her intercessions. Indeed, that incredible prayer to Mary, sub tuum praesidium. I know you're very well aware of that one. Asks for, calls upon the refuge of Saint Mary. It's a very important one. But I'd like to ask you, when it comes to Revelation 12, when you look at your Eastern commentaries, and in particular I know you're quite astute when it comes to the Greek. Do you believe Mary do you believe it is valid to also view Mary as the figure of Revelation 12, the woman crowned in the heavens?
Right. On this particular point, I haven't done a lot of specific study, but I agree with you. There is it can tie it up with Mary, and the relationship of church and Mary is not unlike the relationship of a church and a wife in a marriage. So a woman and the church are close interrelated images and reflections as the place through whom we receive birth as sons of God. We receive birth through the church, and Christ received birth through the Mother of God. So she is sort of a living symbol of the church, and she is, in a matter of fact, she sort of ways is the church. And so, as that through whom we are born, and to whose body we take our flesh, sort of thing, just as Christ says we take in her flesh. So yeah, I think that the image is so close, and you can, as I said, you can also see it through marriage and the Ephesians, that the woman is the church and the husband is Christ.
Sure.
So I think there's a lot of interrelationship. Anything like connections like that, I think is completely legitimate.